hello is the required fields, and in this video I've decided I'm going to do another installment of what's been spinning. So I'm just going to discuss some of the albums that have been spinning as of late. This is Obsession, and this is their album Scarred for Life. Prior to this, Obsession released a 4-song EP titled Martial Law, and this is their first full-length release. This is a very good traditional metal, American-style power metal, whatever you want to call it, type of release. My favorite tracks on here would be Bang 'Em Till They Bleed, Scarred for Life, and Take No Prisoners. And I have enjoyed every release that they've put out in one way or another. I'm not so sure which one I would rank as their best work, but they have four proper full-length releases, an EP, and they have also one kind of an odds and ends release, which was self-titled and only properly released in Japan, if I recall correctly. I own all of them except for that odds and ends release, and enjoy all of her work. And this album was out of print for a while, but was reissued last year on Interlude Recordings. So go get this album if you haven't already, and feel like the U.S. power metal and traditional metal kind of sound. This is Sadist, and this is her album A Vision of Misery. This album was released in 1992, initially on Roadrunner Records. It was since re-released by the label Listenable Records last year. And this is a band that is actually known mainly for their ties to Testament, and they, as both the drummer John Allen and bassist Steve DiGiorgio have played in Testament. And this doesn't sound anything like Testament, though. This is a much more extreme metal, extreme thrash with some elements of death metal on it. And this is less chaotic and frenetic than their previous material, as the songs actually have more breathing room and more progressive elements on it. Although there's a couple of tracks that actually throw back to the band's debut, Chemical Exposure or Illusions. It's been released under both titles. And Under the Knife, the second to last track, is one of the best tracks here, and that's the closest they get to the Chemical Exposure or Illusions, depending on your perspective, type of sound. And my favorite track on it would be the closing track, Echoes for Echoes of Forever. And Deceptive Perceptions is another really good one on here. And this is Sadist, A Vision of Misery. One thing that's kind of interesting, though, is I mentioned their ties to Testament. The vocalist, though, Darren Travis, if you go to Encyclopedia Metallum, the Metal Archives, he hasn't been in one other band apart from Sadist, which is kind of interesting, actually. It doesn't list any other bands of any kind. It doesn't even list that he was in any type of cover bands or any type of bands that never made it past the demo stage. Just Sadist, and that's it. And this is Cyst, and this is a 5-song EP titled The Frozen Casket. Cyst is part of the group of bands that I refer to as new old school death metal, in which they play death metal with more of an old school death metal vibe to it. Other bands in that category would include Gruesome, Morphin, and Skeletal Remains. And this was released at the start of 2018. It was one of the first releases I ordered, although it did actually come in until March, but it was worth the wait, as this is an excellent 5-song EP. If you're into the old school death metal type of sound, definitely give this band Cyst a go. This is their 5-song EP, The Frozen Casket, although it is getting reissued, actually, with the band's 2-song EP called Chemical Entomb that was released beforehand. And they also did a split with Solstice, not the British doom metal band, but the American Death Thrash band. And the song that was on that split, a lot of the 2 songs from the Chemical Soup EP are going to be added as bonus tracks. Although this is a 5-song, just regular 5-song version I have of it. Anyways, The Frozen Casket, definitely get this release. It'll definitely be in my top 10 of 2018 when I get around to making that video at the start of 2019. That is, unless, of course, 10 other albums come along to blow this album away, which I don't see happening. This is Deeds of Flesh, and this is their release, Reduced to Ashes. Deeds of Flesh are a band that is well known in the death metal underground, as they're arguably a band that helped pioneer the brutal death metal sound, as it's known as. This is a very good band. I own a number of their albums, and this is definitely one of their better releases. Although I do like every release of theirs that I have. And if there is one thing that I would say that is a bit of a drawback to this album, and in most of their other earlier albums, it's a fact that there aren't guitar solos on this release. Although they have rectified that on their newer albums and utilized guitar solos on their more recent albums. Although they have also moved away from the brutal death metal sound that they pioneered. And gone for a more technical type of sound. What I would like, they are working on a new release that should hopefully see the light of day by the end of 2018. It's definitely one of my most anticipated releases of the year. And what I'd like to, if I was to say what I'd like to see them do, it would be kind of mix the brutal death metal that they have on their earlier releases, such as this one and Path of the Awakening, and mix it in with the guitar solos that they've utilized in their more recent albums. And anyways, whatever I do, I'm definitely getting that next release. And anyways, this is Deeds of Flesh, Reduced to Ashes. That's the number one of the albums I've been spinning. And lastly, this is Tokyo Blade, and this is their second proper full-length release, Night of the Blade. Tokyo Blade are a part of the NWO-BHM movement, and anyways, this is a Japanese import, which is oddly enough, when you consider it as the name of the band. There are actually 2 versions of this album that actually come with this pressing. The standard version of the release that was initially released, and the band also recorded it with their original vocalist Alan Marsh, who left the band prior to being released, so it was re-recorded with their new vocalist Vic Wright, who appears on the standard release, although a number of years later, the version of Alan Marsh and vocals was released under the title of Night of the Blade the night before. There are some slight track list differences in the Night of the Blade the night before version, as there was some songs that aren't on the standard version of it, as they re-recorded, as they actually recorded a couple of songs that actually weren't on the original version of it, that have a bit of a more commercial sound to them, that weren't on the Night of the Blade the night before version. And there was a couple of heavier and more aggressive tracks that that didn't make the cut in the standard version of the album. Tokyo Blade, Night of the Blade, a good NWO-BHM release. My favorite tracks on it would be the title track and Warrior of the Rising Sun. And anyways, that's just my new video. Some of the albums I've been spinning as of late. And this is Required Field signing off. Hope you enjoyed this video, and goodbye.